All right, everyone. When you hit the bottom, normally you don't keep digging. You know, when you hit the bedrock, it's probably time to try to escape from the pit that you've dug yourself into. Joe Biden and his team do not, it seems, understand this basic premise. Link in the description, archived, of course. Joe Biden the other day was queried with regards to Bidenomics. Of course, the economy sucks. Everyone knows that it sucks. Go to the store and you'll see that I'm right. The number of Americans that actually approve of his economic focus is very, very low. It's approaching the single-digit range. So you would think that's not the time to double down on the messaging you're using, because even if you're capable of hoodwinking some people into the myth that the economy is decent, or at least, well, it'll improve, don't worry too much, we'll dig our ways back out of all of this inflation, you probably don't want to persist in the same messaging because it's clearly not working. Joe Biden came out and he blamed the media for the bad economic messaging. Well, I wish that the media would report the truth instead of all these lies about the Biden economy. But again, you've got several layers of problem here. The first problem is that Joe Biden and his White House, of course, and it's mainly his staff, not him personally, are already coordinating with the same legacy media on economic messaging. Oliver Darcy, again, back in February, openly bragged about this fact on Twitter. We have the tweet. Oliver Darcy confirmed that indeed there was a group of press members who were directly coordinating with Biden's White House on economic messaging. So apparently Joe Biden is claiming that despite that huge boon, they've flown the coop and they've decided not to report exactly what the White House says. So it is their fault, in other words. The second layer of the problem is that the economy self-evidently is not working for the average person. Those polls aren't the result of the legacy media's reporting. If anything, they try to paint lipstick on a pig and present it as being better than it actually is. The reality, though, is people pump their gas. People buy the groceries. They look at their wage statements, etc. And they know that the economy is not going well, for most of them. If you're very insular economically, so if you're part of the investment class, you're, maybe the working rich, say you're like a doctor or something, you're doing just fine. But that's because you're at the upper end, the upper echelon regardless. The economy's going well, you're fine. The economy's not going well, you're still fine. Yeah, maybe you don't buy another sports car this quarter. And that's basically all that happens. For everybody else, for the 90% of the population that isn't either very rich or at least working rich, that's 10% of the economy right there. The other 90%, things fucking suck. It even impacts the poor. Now, Biden's specific central economic policies don't disenfranchise the poor any more than any other administration would. So if you're super poor, you don't pay into the system, things remain nominal, but you're already miserable anyway because you're fucking poor. But for the working, middle, and elements of the upper middle class, which is the bulk of our society, people are hurting because of Bidenflation. Let's go Brandon economics. That's just the long and short of it. That's the bulk of the U.S. public. The people that are, the small minority of people, by the way, that are saying the economy is okay, are either really, really rich, or they were already down and out to begin with, and they're like, well, I don't notice any change. I was surviving on ramen soup anyway, and surviving on ramen soup now, and so nothing really, it doesn't really matter now, does it? Living 4 people to a one-room flat. Yeah, if you're at the very bottom of society, kind of hard to go lower unless you end up outright homeless. Oh, wait, that's a problem too. I wonder if some of the people being queried just simply don't have any place to go because Joe Biden has destroyed the fucking economy. Oh, yeah, 2-3 times the number of homeless people. I'm sure that they think that Biden's economy is working for them. Now, I think most of them, give them a free crack bag, maybe they'll answer in the affirmative. That'll be Biden's next step. He gives crack to homeless people and then polls them on how the economy's going. Oh, I got your back, Joe. Thanks for the bag. The messaging, I didn't expect it to be able to devolve any further. When Joe Biden, who is literally coordinating through his staff, through his people with the media, turns around and blames the media for people believing the economy is bad, you couldn't be more off message. By the way, doesn't this piss anybody off? Being blatantly lied to like this? Again, we don't have evidence, we have proof. We know that the legacy media coordinates in the White House on this. Explicitly for economic messaging, although I suspect it goes far further than that, is this man's nuts. If the Democrats really are crazy, by the way, to let him run again, apparently there's nothing they can do to stop him. They could broker their convention, I suppose. That'd be rather funny. Imagine Trump gets through and the RNC rolls its eyes and says, sigh, okay, we'll let Orange Man run again. Fuck, what else are we going to do? But then Biden gets cock-blocked. At this point, with the economy and the border going so poorly and foreign policy becoming even more messy than it was before, again, another issue on which I believed he had hit rock bottom, but more recently he found a way to keep digging. It's like a Minecraft game where you can go through the bedrock, I suppose. And Joe Biden found a way. His messaging is insane. It leaves me speechless, because it's like, how can you be so stupid? This is another off-the-cuff moment where he went off script. He's not supposed to be talking about this particular issue now, is he? If I were one of Biden's staffers, I would beg him not to even mention the economy. Don't tweet about it. Don't talk about it. Ignore all questions on the topic. It doesn't matter. Hey, Joe, when you're in your hazy moment and you think you got something really witty to say about the Bidenomic economy, hold your tongue. Hold back that big, I'm going to take you out behind the woodshed, man, I was a bad dude with corn pop ego, and shelve it. Because it's not doing you any favors. This will probably decline his fucking polling numbers. Why do you think that CNN's not reporting on what Biden said? Because they're still circling wagons, even as he castigates them. That's the other thing. It must be weird to work in the legacy media, and you're literally coordinating with this administration. You're getting your marching orders effectively from them. You're all buddy-buddy rubbing elbows and doing the schmoozy thing. And still he comes out in public, and when he's not on script, he still blames you for his own problems. And by the way, there are a lot of other parties that are involved with this. I was told the Russians were responsible last year. When inflation was really heating up, it was Russia's fault. Then it was Trump's fault. Now it's the same media that literally circle jerks for Joe Biden. They work with him. They're effectively nothing more at this point than a state mouthpiece, and they still get the blame. How much longer before we have our own literal TASS and Pravda moment, and they're stripped of all autonomy entirely? Joe Biden says, oh, come on, man. First Amendment allows me to use the Defense Production Act to take over the airwaves, or something like that. He's an imperial president, which is sad because the emperor not only has no clothes, but no bowel control. Yeah, Jill's practically running things. Jill and Kamala and a few others behind the scenes. Suppose Kissinger was helping run things. He finally went to hell. We're all hoping that Biden doesn't, though, because the alternative somehow is worse. Just think, Joe Biden, with all of his foibles and all of his mistakes and all of his follies, is still better than the alternative where he ends up having to stand down because he has a stroke or something, and Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States. By the way, she'd be even more of a pawn. She's even less personable than him somehow. He has his angry old man moments, but at least generally he's capable of pretending that he's like, harmless and befuddled. He sort of does a George W. Bush shtick. Now, I'm not saying he's not out to lunch, but he ain't a harmless dude. Look at Ashley's diary, or his time as a tough-on-crimer in the Senate, or all the warmongering under the Obama administration, or the warmongering under his own administration now, or the fact that he collapsed the economy, and you'll see a little bit of a different story from just, oh, come on, man, let's go do some push-ups. That's about all. Peace out.